Welcome back. It's James Black at PDAC 2026, and I'm joined by Nicole Brewster, Renforth Resources, listed on the CSE under the symbol RFR. Nicole, great to see you again. I've known you a long time now. This is PDAC, one of many that we've seen together.
Yep, there's been a couple.
You've been walking around this and you've seen people mill around in the energy. I mean, you don't mince words. What does this tell you as someone who's running a mining company? What does this tell you when there's all these people in these hallways running around? What does it say to you as an operator?
Well, there are a few things that we could talk about, but I will say that I am seeing investors, and more so than last year so far. And we're only a day and a half into this. Mm-hmm. In my last newsletter, I said to them, if you're at PDAC, come and say hello. And they're coming over and saying hello. So that's sort of interesting to me.
Okay.
They're at least reading the newsletter. Whether or not they're shareholders, investors, who knows? A lot of trade services, a lot of service providers here, a lot of people trying to sell stuff. It's pivoting to a trade show. It's less about an investor show. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
That said, people who are already in the industry, understand the industry, and are perhaps predisposed to invest in the industry.
Yeah.
So good and bad, right? Things are evolving, change is inevitable. So
it's almost like investing or getting people to invest at these things is like a B2B approach as opposed to a B2C.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's sort of what's happening. You are seeing people going into booths this year, whereas last year there was a lot of foot traffic, but a lot of the booths were just staring into space.
Yeah.
So, it's happening. Governments are here. They're making splashes in booths.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's a bit of a different energy.
Yeah, no, I feel that as well. So when they come to your booth and they're talking to you or they're reading your newsletter, what's your lead? What are you trying to get people to think about when they think about Renforth as an investment opportunity?
Well, I just keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and you've probably heard me say it, in fact, but Renforth's working to monetize the Parbec gold deposit in order to develop the Victoria polymetallic critical minerals deposit. Mm-hmm. That's the big headline. Now, there's a lot behind that. There's a very simple statement to make, but the first thing you see in the booth is the Parbec core, the gold. Yeah. And then further in the booth is Victoria, the polymetallic core.
Right.
So we talk about the gold first. We're stripping right now, and what we're doing, working towards an underground bulk sample, and then all the steps that entails and what might be coming down the pipe. Right.
But what's your indication that you're on track with this project? What gives you, when you see those core samples, you've been at this a long time. What keeps you going on this one? I can ask you that because I've known you a long time. It's been a grind. If everyone's watching, it's been a grind.
I get told, people have very politically correct ways of telling me that I grind.
Yeah.
And a friend was like, "You're a honey badger. Nobody knows." I'm like, "Can we not lead with that? Like, can we just not?" But I'm determined, I guess, is what people say.
Yes.
Or I'm stubborn. Pick the side of the coin you want to talk about. But I've recognized value in Parbec for quite a while. And in fact, while nobody wanted to talk about this gold deposit, which we updated at the beginning of last year, I've said no to quite a few deals on it because people have been opportunistic, as they should be as a buyer, but there's no obligation on my part to engage in an opportunistic dialogue. So I've turned away offers on Parbec. We're going to go underground at Parbec. Ultimately, we will monetize Parbec. I'm a glutton for punishment. If that means open a mine, then that is what we will do. But given that we're beside Canada's largest open pit gold mine, which has a forecast deficit of throughput at the end of this decade, and I speak to them regularly, I don't actually know that I would take odds on whether I'll have the privilege of opening a mine. So,
it's a different muscle, right? It's a bit of a different muscle, but...
Absolutely. I'll hire people. It will not be me. But I'll still have to manage the process, and whether or not I'll have the privilege of doing that remains to be seen.
Right. Now, let's just talk about jurisdiction for a sec. So you guys are in Quebec, and I know we've highlighted this in the past, but my sense, it's a great place to be operating. A lot of support from the government. There's even funding within the province that helps some of these issuers. But from your own perspective, how has that whole jurisdictional play worked out for you?
Well, jurisdictional play, big picture, we're in Canada. Jurisdictional risk, I've been talking to shareholders about jurisdictional risk for a while, largely ignored. Yet we are seeing things happen both geopolitically as well as from a an asset seizure tax regime changes in different parts of the world as governments look to monetize their assets. So Canada is a pretty good bulwark about that. Against that, we do have the rule of law. When you get into Canada and you start breaking down the jurisdictions by province or territory, the picture changes a little bit. Quebec has just slid further in the Fraser rankings. There was a point where they were in the top 5. They were just ranked at 23.
Right.
And the reason is the layers of paperwork. It's only increasing. The regulatory regime is only becoming more complex in Quebec from an explorationist point of view. It might be valid at the operating mine level of the game, but from an exploration point of view, there's a capacity issue, both within the community, within the system, and within the operators.
I'm sure they've attracted a lot of activity in the region, but then you have to support it administratively, and I'm sure that there's always capacity, right?
There's capacity in the communities, capacity within the regulators themselves to deal with the paperwork they generate, and capacity within the operators' abilities to feed that paperwork beast. And it's just becoming more complex. That said, the government is very supportive of mining.
Yes.
Renforth has benefited from grant money that allowed us to do initial metallurgical work at Victoria, proving the viability for conventional processing of the mineralization. The community at whole is very pro-mining, mining friendly. We're between Rouen and Val d'Or. We're in Malartic. We're in the bottom of the Abitibi. It's been a mining district for centuries. So there's not in my backyard issues.
Right.
But there's always room for improvement. Let's say it that way.
And the local community, that's obviously a key stakeholder. Everything is working great there, I assume.
First Nations, local community, everyone's happy with what's happening. Everyone appreciates that if we're successful, not only do shareholders benefit, but the host communities benefit, because this is a generational exercise, building a mine, and the ripple effect of the financial ripple effect is significant. And it'll benefit everyone.
No, we agree on that point. Just looking ahead now, 12, 18 months, maybe up until the next year from now at PDAC 2027, what are the check boxes you are trying to address on your list as you get into another exploration season? And
we're moving on a few fronts.
I
always need money, but I'm not a bank. So I take the approach, which is atypical. I only raise what I can spend. So I'm spending what I raised last year. I will have to raise money again. I could do it conventionally, which is dilutive, which is irritating. However, I'm the largest retail shareholder, so I assure shareholders there will not be a rollback that's punitive to shareholders. That said, I am looking at some asset divestiture. We're an asset-rich company. We have the Parbec gold deposit. We have the Victoria critical minerals deposit. We have the Lalonde sister occurrence to Victoria. We have the Beaupré copper discovery. We have the Lac gold zone. We have ample pegmatite ground, and we have a Nixon Bartleman gold project in Ontario. We're incredibly asset deep for a very small company. I am looking to monetize some of the non-core assets. There are also other discussions about our assets that are more creative ways to finance. So that's the one issue that's always forefront of my mind. Exploration side, like I said, whilst our focus is on monetizing Parbec, we'll bring Victoria along. Right now, we're waiting for our last permit. We'll drill a couple holes to undercut very good copper and nickel numbers at Victoria. So you'll see us drilling at this point later in the spring, early summer at Victoria. At Parbec, we're currently chipping. We'll follow it by stripping. We're working right above our targeted underground bulk sample area. We're working on the permitting to dewater the decline. We'll be taking an underground bulk sample. That process will encompass the next 12 months. Along the way, you'll see us doing some drilling to better define the bulk sample target area. As well, we're refining our geological model as we speak, and that's showing us opportunity to increase ounces. Our deposits and open pit deposits, 79% of those ounces are measured and indicated, measured being the highest resource class. We have the opportunity to do more work to probably bring more ounces into measured and indicated and just bring more ounces onto the table. At Parbec, we're largely above 300 meters. We announced last week we see vertical continuity in a couple of lenses down to the full 300 meters. And then we gap deeper. Our deepest pierce point, 700 meters. Lots of infill drilling to do. We're on the Cadillac Break, which it's got a funny history because things like the Tonawanda mine north of us was mined in the 50s, 60s, 70s to 250 meters.
Yeah.
Agnico came in and founded the Lapa mine under the Tonawanda mine.
No way.
And it was a 200-meter long lens.
Jeez.
So we're comparable in terms of size, but we're shallower. But we have depth potential. Agnico's Odyssey mine, which is just to the east of us, on the other side of, it's the eastern end of our neighboring property, that starts at 1,000 meters depth. But Canadian Malartic and Barnett are being mined from surface in an open pit. So it's a really neat camp we're in. There's near surface gold, and then there's deep-seated stuff. So that speaks to a long life at Parbec.
No, and I think the mission here is you just keeping the work going.
Yeah.
And working towards that recognition that, a project like this has got a ton of upside, right? It's just
Parbec does. And
Yeah.
realistically, if I don't open the mine, someone's going to buy Parbec.
Yeah.
Well, I'm prepared to pivot, and I'm doing a very slow pivot to Victoria because we hurried up to declare the resource there simply because the resource is kind of like the flag in the ground. It says it's real,
Yeah.
but we're only on 2.5 kilometers of a 20-kilometer long structure. So there's a ton of work to do there. And
Right.
we're at surface with less than 1-to-1 strip ratio, but our deepest pierce point is only 200 meters.
Just end off. You mentioned a newsletter.
Yes.
Is this how often do you put out this?
Every press release. So if you go to the
Okay.
website,
Yeah.
which is admirably low tech because I am the IT service.
It's okay.
However, renforthresources.com, you'll see old underground pictures of Parbec actually.
Nice.
But at the bottom,
Yeah.
somewhere, you can sign up for the newsletter. It goes to more than 8,400 people right now.
Yeah.
It goes out with every press release. It only goes out with a press release. And why it goes out is I say in plain English why the press release was put out
Okay.
or what was important about the press release. Because, for example, last week's press release was super chewy from a geological perspective. We did it in bullet points to try and break it down more. But even then, I go in there and I'm like, okay, this is why this is important. And I actually put in I was like, let me say this differently.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say it differently again. This is what's important here.
No, it is important to make it digestible. And,
Exactly.
we already jumped ahead. I always ask where to get the information. Now you know. I also mentioned you're listed on the CSE under symbol RFR. You can go to your disclosure page at thecse.com, get all the information there, all the news releases, sign up for the newsletter through the press release. Nicole, it's always a pleasure to see you, and I wish you luck in this market. And obviously, I can tell you're eager to get back and work at the.
Well, my head's still down. I'm still plowing along. And
Yeah.
the neat part of these events is I have a lot of quick conversations of very different tenors with very different
Yeah.
people. You never know what works,
No.
and then you get funny emails. Like I had an email last week. It was a guy, I met you in London at blah, blah, blah 2 years ago. You didn't fit then. Not sure you're there yet, but I need you to meet these people who are
Yeah.
coming to PDAC. So,
There's, as I say, there's some science to it, but at the other end of it, there's some just happenstance and magic, I guess. You wanna put
it
that
can
way?
be. Let's just hope it's not a freight train. The light's visible at the end of the tunnel again.
Yeah.
We've been here before, and we're at the very speculative end of this market. I mean, it's
Understood.
2.5 cent stock.
Yeah.
If it works, the amplitude, the potential is enormous. But with enormous potential is the highest level of risk as well.
Yes.
However, we've defined the deposits. We have the assets. Now, your risk is my ability to perform. It's that simple.
We'll leave on that note. Thanks so much,
Precisely.
Nicole. That's Nicole Brewster, Renforth Resources, listed on the CSE, RFR, and I'm James here at PDAC 2026. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.